morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Wednesday morning. Man, my days are all over the freaking place this week. I literally had to think midair. I had to make an adjustment on the ball. But yes, back to being the greatest dad. Honestly, when I looked at the mug, I remembered which day it was that way. So it's been kind of like really hectic as we get ready for the weekend and everything. And John will be joining us this weekend in person, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Still figuring out that Saturday time slot because I completely forgot that I was going to a close friend's baby shower in the morning. So I can't not make that because that dude is my brother. So definitely I saw you posted the schedule and there are some free slots towards the afternoon. So I'll definitely try and make that. Sunday is a definite sure bet though. Although I worry about Sunday because you guys might literally be zombies by the time I arrive there. I'm going to be like, hey, and then they're going to be like, who is that?
Probably. Especially Victor will be. Victor will have no idea who you are, kind of a thing. But yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting just because we're live. We're kind of like trying to work out all the dynamics, sound, and all that kind of stuff.
Man, yeah, I'm not really thinking about the technical stuff. I'm just thinking about the excitement of like, it's going to be our very first live show on location for something, right? So it's going to be a massive deal. And at Carragher's, no less.
Yes. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's kind of a big deal. It should be like, I don't know which one you got to kind of like adjust and get ready for more. The fact that it's 24 hours or the fact that it's on location and live. There's a lot more that goes to it, obviously, with sound and stuff like that. And since we've never done it before, you got to be ready. But people who watch us are always ready for some kind of technical difficulties anyway. So it's not going to be a huge adjustment for people who watch us regularly. So, but it'll be interesting. And at the end of the day, it's all about kind of like raising funds for the 23 Foundation. We are doing well so far. I think we probably totaled our number of sponsors from last year, but still have 9 to go. In terms of hours being sponsored. So we still need to get the word out, your business or as a personal, if you're watching us regularly, or maybe join with a couple of people in the chats and like sponsor an hour. That's always an option too. I saw on Discord, BJ is trying to get some partners in crime to do a trivia hour to torture these guys and stuff like that. So yeah, by all means, any freaking which way, because it all totals and it all basically goes to the 23 Foundation.
You do the trivia hour like 18 hours in. That is going to be.
You know what? That's a good idea. I should schedule that because I'm doing the scheduling basically. I mean, it's kind of based on people's availability, obviously, when people can join us and stuff like that. But aside from that, I'm kind of plugging them in. Yes, I should do it as late as possible. Is a good idea, actually. But it might really backfire, too. They might just flip the table and leave or something. So I'm going to have to play it safe. We don't want to do it in the middle of the night where they have access to the bar. There's no security.
Let's do an over-under as to how many successful answers they're going to have, right? Like, I would bet under 2.
I don't even know how many he can like kind of like squeeze in like 1 hour over there. By the way, we will have Saidu is there. Saidu, what's going on, Saidu? And Alan, good morning, Alan. Saidu stars reminded me because I know you can put stars on our stuff on Facebook right now, for example, like to generate extra funds. And I know we're gonna have the super chat and stuff like that enabled for our live show on Saturday. So I think it's probably available now, actually. So all those that we gather during the 24 hours will go that way too. So it's going to be an easy way for people.
Look at us, man. Look at like super chats and everything. Just look at us, man. You know that meme with
I know, right? Yeah, I know. I don't know who wants to do a super chat with us, but it's going to be for a good cause. It's going to be for a good cause. So Jared is in the house. What's going on, man? Good morning. And yes, please do like, subscribe, share. It's more important than ever now, to be honest with you, because we're trying to get the word out on the foundation. But yeah, I think the chats in the morning, because this is our last morning show before we do the whole shebang and go 24 hours straight on Saturday.
Oh, no Friday show.
No, because I will be already out and about. We're actually leaving late tonight. Gonna do like stop at Niagara Falls with Angie. And then we're going to hit New York on Friday. So we're going to be on the road to New York from like Rochester on Friday morning when we will be live. So this is our last you see of me before you see 24 hours of me nonstop. So it's good. I think people will need a break to gain enough energy to see me on TV
Really,
screen for 24 hours straight.
I
So
really got to make time for Saturday because, like, I would love to have a genuine in-person conversation with yourself and the gents, and I would like
be
for it not
careful
to
what you wish for,
right
but
for it
yes.
not to be a one-sided thing. Like, listen, I know how it's gonna go, but then I would like to have it reciprocated. You know what I mean? Like, if I say something, I would like there to be like a genuine, like, non-impaired response. If that makes sense.
I know we're hopeful. We're hopeful that
Like-
it's going to be like we're going to be as good as possible for 24 hours straight. I do worry that from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. there's going to be nobody there at the pub, and I don't even know how many people are there, like 3 a.m. in the morning or whatever. But it is a Saturday night. But there's not going to be anybody there from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. when they lock us in, and it will be interesting because we'll have access to all kinds of craziness. Little do they know at Carragher's over there. Natush says, I spent 2 hours with all of them and I had nightmares ever since. And we were like kind of, but here's the thing though, if you come in while we're almost passed out, you'll be fine. Yes, I mean, this will be almost like a new little American Scouser petting zoo where you can come in and come in and meet us. If you are in the New York area, definitely make a trip. Come meet us, even sit, grab a chair and talk to us. That's why we're trying to figure out sound wise and stuff like that. So Seneko is in the house. Good morning, sir. All the way from Ethiopia. I love like in the morning where we get like because of the hour difference, we were like really, really international. I know there's a lot of folks obviously from like Liverpool and the UK in general, but it's like makes the mornings a lot more interesting. I kind of like enjoy that in the morning. Honestly, a lot of our big props to a lot of guys like Tony and Mr. Bad, like our regulars who are from Liverpool, even joining us at like Monday night podcast and stuff, which makes it like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning over there. So
imagine if our voices, imagine if our voices are the last thing that you'd listen to before you go to bed. I don't know, man. Like,
yes, what I was saying about Nunez right before you go to sleep is probably not the best way to go. But let's get to that because Al Hilal has reached an agreement with Liverpool. So it's all kind of hinging now on Nunez wanting to go and agreeing to go to the Saudi League. How likely do you think that is? Because knowing, I don't know, he's a young kid. He has kids. I don't know if he would go for the wages, because he'll definitely have better wages if he goes to Al Hilal as opposed to going to AC Milan, where he stays in Europe, plays in Europe, plays in Champions League. I'm pretty sure AC Milan is in there, right? And
I don't know.
And gets like, I don't know, like is able to kind of like still continue the career and not have a gap. I mean, him going to Saudi, I don't think is like, oh, we'll never ever see him again. I think he'll be a guy that goes there for a year and then goes somewhere else as another contract and stuff like that. It's like it will be a 1 year thing where he gets the wages. So and he's too young, so he'll have other opportunities and stuff. But what do you think, Nunez? Because I'm assuming Al Hilal gives Liverpool what we want as Liverpool, but I don't think AC Milan is going to be as generous.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's a reason why everyone wants, for their fringe, not wanted players, they'd want the Saudi league to kind of tap them up because that they're going to offer way beyond market value. And I'm looking at Ornstein's post here again to answer your question about him wanting to go. I think he put in here LFC striker indicating willingness to accept. So he's not against the idea. He's probably open to the idea for that to be reported by a journalist that's as reliable as Ornstein. So I feel like in terms of that matter, that answers that question. In terms of the fee, we are taking a loss, but at the same time, we always expected that we were going to take a loss for Darwin. Yes. Yeah, and it's not that big of a loss, right? Like in terms of what we could get from him from a European club, I think it's massively what anyone can offer. To your point about Milan, I don't think they're offering that much for sure.
No,
50 million plus, absolutely not.
And definitely not the wages, especially to like him. And Serzi says he did he? Like he wanted to go there in January. I mean, it was did we stop him at the time, or was he in doubt? I'm assuming he would have kind of like held out for something else in Europe, somewhere elsewhere. but nobody's obviously going in with the money involved. I think if you threw him out there for 20, 30 million, everybody would be tripping over each other to give a shot at him because obviously he came to us with huge potential. So that's an interesting question, though. It's obviously a loss, right? At the end of the day, in terms of what we got him for and what we're selling him for. But in between, he does a bunch of things. Some driving me nuts, some making us crazy, celebrating, or like everything in between, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's almost like a pretty pricey loan deal. If he was a loan guy for that price, do you think like we got our money's worth, even if you take that as a loss?
It depends on what your expectation was for him. Because I expected him to be leading the Liverpool line over the next few years.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so let me rephrase the question then. As things are, like in terms of what you paid and what you got, if it was a restaurant, as you're leaving, you were like, we got our money's worth, or you're like, man, we got really screwed. We should have just gone to McDonald's.
The thing is, we go to a restaurant, like, what is the objective, right? I come into a restaurant for good food and to fill myself up. I think we filled ourselves up. We got a league title. Was it tasty? what was the Nunez dish as tasty as we would like it? Not necessarily, no. There were some parts of it that tasted pretty good. Some of it, majority of it, was just mid to below average. But we got full. So I think I'll stop there in terms of the analogy, right?
Yeah, because Alan says money is worth no way. I mean, we're talking about, I don't think we got our money's worth for a player that's with that price tag.
Oh, yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to see is that price tag minus what we're getting now.
Yeah.
To what, 2.5 seasons of him? Did we get our money's worth in that once? He was like oat milk and tea, says
Joke's on you. Like, I love oat milk on matcha, so it's all on the perspective, right?
You're a matcha guy?
My God, man! I thought you knew about this. Like, we had this conversation a few months ago.
Did we have a matcha conversation with you? I know we had the oat milk conversation. I don't remember the matcha conversation. We had the
oat milk conversation because I say I love it with matcha and coffee. That's how we got there, man. Come on. Like,
I thought you put so you don't put oat milk in coffee, for the record.
I do.
You do, exactly. So don't be backing out of that shit and be like,
but then let me actually give the story behind this. I never liked oat milk on coffee, but when I put it on matcha, it opened up my mind. So I put it on coffee. I was like, oh, this ain't too bad. It's actually pretty good.
What I don't like about things like almond milk and oat milk and stuff, in kind of like a coffee or tea or whatever. So especially the tea people on the other side of the pond should respond to this, because I do want to know what I feel like, especially with coffee. I don't think I've ever even tried it with tea. Like, I don't think I've ever put almond milk or oat milk or whatever in tea. I've tried it with coffee. What I do not like is
I
feel like it takes over, and all I'm tasting is the milk and not the coffee anymore. Like, I taste so much almond. I taste so much whatever the hell oats are. You know what I mean? Like, that it takes away the coffee. I have not even tried to use it with tea. Have you, being the oat milk guy that you are?
Sorry.
Have you put the oat milk in tea?
No, I'm not really a tea guy.
Oh, you're not a tea guy? Oh.
Not really a tea guy. I grew up with coffee and coffee only. I get it. I get the whole tea thing. And I feel like as I get older, I feel like I'm going to have to transition to it eventually, in terms of, like, Alan, what's that supposed to mean? A Filipino that
what is
likes
that supposed to mean?
milk?
Like, a Filipino that likes oat milk.
Right.
Is that like a rarity in the
I have no
country?
clue, by the way. It is kind of expensive in the country, but then at the same time, I kind of have to do it because I'm semi-lactose intolerant. You know what I mean? Like, regular milk gets my stomach upset sometimes, so I'd rather not take the risk, especially when I'm going out. You know what I mean? So, like, people think, like, contrary to popular belief, I'm not trying to be trendy. It's out of semi-necessity.
Okay. See, I think when somebody says, fair or not, when somebody says something like that, you're like, automatically like, are you vegan, or are you, like, everybody assumes that you're doing it for other reasons, not like health reasons. So let's Mateusz is jealous that he's not in the food conversation, so he's trying to take us back to Liverpool over here because that's our
Look at Mateusz
specialty on
setting us
Mondays
straight.
usually. Yeah. Given the difference between purchase and sale, I think the money was worth it. Not the worst business we've done in the last decade.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
for example, compared to, I think in the recent history, luckily, and this is why we've been successful, we have not had a lot of
duds.
poor buys and stuff like that. Yeah, duds, as you would call them. So the only other one that comes to mind is Keita. I would consider this as, even though Keita's just health drove me nuts and nothing that he did on the pitch as much, I would consider Nunez value a lot better. Because at least he was available. Even when we didn't play him, it wasn't because he was not available. He was available. And he did contribute to more, it felt like, during his time. Especially when you compared the purchase price compared to the sale price.
I actually think if we're talking about Keita, especially early on, like he was injury prone, but he did contribute quite a bit to our Champions League win and our Premier League win.
So if you compare them,
yeah,
which one do you think we got better value out of, even though we lost money on the deal?
Nunez, obviously, because we're still getting 50 million for him. Like at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like as much as Keita did contribute to our Champions League, Premier League win a few years ago, how much did we get for him?
I think Keita came for 50 or something, right?
He came in for 50. Right? Yeah, how much did we sell him for is what I'm trying to say. Like to I don't think we
let
broke
me
work
the machine for you.
Right. I don't think we broke
crank it up over here.
I don't think we broke double digits for his sale price. That is
let's see.
That hurts if that's the case, right? Like at least with Nunez, like 50 million.
Low, by the way.
Sorry.
He has really sunk low. He's in the Hungarian league.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's why
I did not realize he went. So whoever bought him from us. Okay, here we go. 65. Went for 12.
Oh, that is
that is a hit.
that makes me feel like Sir Z when I say oat milk. Jeez, like
he's at I think it's called hold on, hopefully Mateusz or somebody will correct me on this, but from I was always growing up, I've always known him as French Varaus, I think is the team name, from the Hungarian league. So that's where he's at. He went to Werder Bremen from us back to Bundesliga, and from Werder Bremen he went over there for $1 million. Looks like he went on a loan, and then end of loan. So he might actually be out and about right now. So he might be listening to us because he doesn't have a team to practice with, possibly. So we'll see that. Yeah, Saida says wise business on Nunez. I mean, I think you're. So how much is of this do you think is Al Hilal saying, hey, he's not worth that, but why don't we give you guys 20 extra, and then you guys look like you're giving even more for Isak. But instead of 120, you guys give Isak 140. You guys look good because, it doesn't look like as big of a plop with Nunez. We look good because it looks like, we're getting Isak go, but we're getting a lot of money for it.
Could be. Like with this front office, I wouldn't be surprised, man. I mean, we feel like, I think it was in this show where that conversation was had with Kwanzaa, right? Where we were, some of his fee sort of offset that stuff with Wirtz, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if the management sort of goes into those dark arts. And listen, you got to do what you got to do, man. Yep. You got to get your value for said player. And like with this front office, I wouldn't trust them with 50 million in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? To reinvest it wisely. So I'm really happy on this piece of business. To answer your question, like straightforward, but the Keita Nunez business, Nunez was easily like the better result. Like all things considered, like from start to finish, how much we bought him, how much we sold him, how much we contributed, Nunez, no doubt. Like, yeah, I would say.
I think so too. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you can find a lot more highlights, I think, if you dig back. And I do admit that, when Keita was on and about and playing, he was effective. Like I remember that United away game, the game that he got injured actually, when freaking like when he had come back and he was doing well, and Pogba goes in freaking like full studs, gets to red like 5-10 minutes into second half.
Right.
That 5-0 away win that we had with the nice tan jerseys. So and when he was playing, he was on, but he was rarely playing.
My most memorable Keita moment was FA Cup semis. Everyone wanted Fabinho, himself, and Thiago to start. It never happened because those two idiots were always injured. But when it did, it looked really good. I think we blew them away 3-0 first half, right? And that midfield was like playing.
Who were we playing?
Man City. FA Cup semifinal. We started Fabinho. Thiago, and Keita, and we looked glorious on the ball. Like
that's the thing. Those are two guys, and Thiago was like a lower risk, so we never bring it up. I think as like a dud purchase and stuff. At the time, it almost looked like the cherry on top of the cake, and it kind of like fell off. So you were like, whatever, the cake is still here, kind of a deal. So nobody made like as big of a deal because he looked like a luxury at the time being added to a good team. But now we know, and I think that's why kind of like I like what we're doing here. Is we're not just adding a cherry, we're actually changing a lot of pieces and improving the team overall and getting younger. And that's like one of the biggest things.
Yes.
See, Kevin is in the house, says everyone drinks milk. It's why we're called. See, that's the thing about the morning show, man. It's educational. I don't know about entertaining, but it's definitely educational in a wide range of ways. Well, since Kevin is here, that reminds me to the center back business, because that's still not over the line. You shared this. I think there was like a tweet regarding a center back concern. I mean,
and I just remembered, isn't Gomez injured already?
Gomez is already injured, yes. And I think that's the problem there. But here's the deal, and that's why I actually mentioned it, I think, on Discord as I was watching the preseason games. And I'm like, man, I hope like Slot is not looking out there and be like, we don't need no stinking center back. Look at Endo and stuff like that. Because while Endo looked really good, I thought, as a center back. He kind of has like the instincts and stuff like that of a defensive midfielder. And I think he doesn't do. Sometimes when you change positions, you go from like midfield to defense and stuff. Some players don't adjust their tackles, whereas he seems to. Like he's not tackling or going into balls like he would in midfield, because you can afford to give like a free kick in the middle of the pitch. But you don't want to give up set pieces and stuff. So he can adjust his game. And my only thing is, in preseason, nobody is like really preparing for you. Everybody is just looking at themselves. They're not really looking as much at you. Right. Whereas if you go to the Premier League season, people already target whoever is playing opposite side of Van Dijk.
Trent.
So it's going to be, I mean, you put a big, center forward on Endo. Yeah. He's going to bring every freaking ball down. Everything you lob up to him, he's going to be able to flick over and stuff like that. So I don't think it's a good idea. Not even talking about Gomez. I think I think it's a good way to, let's say you have some injuries middle of the season and you're down to like 3 center backs. Instead of like risking one of those center backs, maybe in a rotation, you play Endo in a rubber game, League Cup game, in a rubber game, like in the Champions League game and stuff like that. But I don't think you want that going into the season. I would think with so much money being spent, it will be very reckless to go into the season with the center backs we have now. It makes no sense to me.
And the club has been stung before. 2020 season comes to mind. And if I'd like to believe we're a club who learns from our mistakes, right? And what happened during that season? We played defensive midfielders, Fabinho, Henderson, at CB, and there was a point where in the middle of the season where both looked way out of their depth playing that. Like
I still go back and I still personally put that on
Klopp. Yes, because you're sacrificing 2 fronts now rather than 1 front. Like it's I don't think Slot, no disrespect to Klopp at all, but he seems more tactically like astute with what he would like to sacrifice and stuff like
I
that.
think
I don't
he
know. I feel like
seems
he wouldn't.
less rigid, if that
He's
makes sense.
yeah.
Right?
He's
Like he
less.
would
Yeah.
make the adjustment, whereas Klopp always thought, and that's why, whoever we signed, we never saw him for like some time. Mine, aside
Mm,
from a few exceptions, I think he valued knowing the system, where to be,
yeah.
more than maybe skill sets. So
Mm,
like even like, you look at guys like Robertson, Fabinho, and stuff like that. It took a while before we actually saw him on the pitch. So Klopp wanted to make sure they knew exactly what they needed to do, or he trusted them. And
right.
I think that's kind of in that center back situation, it hurt us because I think we put those guys back there. So now there's no pressure on the ball. So it doesn't matter if you had two Van Dijks back there. If there's no pressure on the ball in midfield, you're still like setting yourself up to fail. Whereas if you kept the midfield strong, I think you kind of got away with like Ozan Kabak and stuff like that in the back, and
Mm.
the hologram that was Ben Davies, Nat Phillips, and stuff
Who?
like that, or Reese Williams, who we trusted
Yeah.
afterwards. Of course, probably Klopp's counter would be, yeah, because when we trusted them, they were ready to go. They weren't ready to go beforehand. So
I mean,
it's kind of like, Monday
it's
morning
right.
quarterback deal.
Yeah, it's spilled milk as well. I mean, we managed to get over the line, get
Yeah.
Champions League football, but then the argument could be made if we had done that in the first place, we wouldn't even be taking it to the last day, if that makes sense.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah. To your point about if these, the center back depth, when if players get injured, I think it's a matter of when players get injured. Like literally, Gomez is injured right now. Konate's season last year, I think were people who like, I wouldn't say like support him or like love him in the Liverpool squad, like don't recognize that last year was an outlier in terms of
Yeah.
him being the healthy majority of the season. I feel like there is an injury or two there that's going to come for him. Although now it's nice seeing Frimpong track back and try and help him out. You know
Imagine
what I mean?
a right back striking back and
like
fast. Like you can almost see
excuse me.
Konate's shock every time he turns around.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, he's back here already.
Right,
kind
like
of a thing.
I legit saw that clip where Konate was like marshaling the Bilbao player. He turned back and was like, "Holy, like listen, man, like I'll take
It helps that he's fast as hell too.
Yeah,
So,
I'll take
but the
it.
will
Like,
is there to track back.
I'll take it, man.
I have a theory. Club just bought by Woody J, and so selling all your best players straight away is not a good look unless he needs the money.
Does he mean Crystal Palace?
Yeah, for Palace. So, and that's the thing. Look, Gay, I think would be an ideal replacement where we would have no doubt, right? If you see
is
Gay in the
solid.
starting 11, you'll
He's
be like, okay,
solid,
we're gonna
yeah.
be fine.
He's
But
solid.
either way, even if it is not Gay, I think for numbers alone, you have to go get another center back right now because you can't count Gomez being healthy the entire season, and you can't count Endo. I do, even though, see a lot of scenarios. I was talking about this actually on Monday night podcast with Gally. I do see a lot of scenarios where Slot might be big on, especially when we're home, like we're going against a team that's playing a low block. We're trying to break him down and stuff like that. I can kind of see him almost like sliding Gravenberg back to that spot, your boy Gravenberg, and that way you can have McAllister, Wirtz, and Szoboszlai on the pitch at the same time, because Gravenberg and Van Dijk be able to build play and direct in the back as well. And he brings that speed and all that kind of stuff. So I do see that scenario happening at times, but man, not like on a regular basis. Mike, good morning, sir. He says 2 of them. I don't know about 2 of them though. See, I've heard this before. Mike is not the only person who says this. Are you saying 2? Because I'm saying 1. I just don't see 2 happening.
I don't see 2 happening because we're getting Isak.
Oh, is that why? Okay.
Yeah. I think we're getting Isak is why I don't think 2 is happening. I feel like if I'm going to predict how the rest of this window goes, we sell Nunez, which is happening. We sell Elliott, then we get Isak plus that CB, whoever it is, whether it's Gahey or someone. But yeah, to your point about Gravenberg, that's a situational thing. Like when we know, like it was actually a really good call. Like I remember he first played that card when we were playing Forest away, and Forest was not offering any threat at all going forward. So he was like, "Well, screw the other defender. Let me put Gravenberg back here. Put another ball carrier, because these guys aren't going to attack anyway." listen. So it's a good like sort of card to have, but to use it every time, like we know how gassed Gravenberg looked towards the end of the year. So
Yes.
yeah, not ideal. Not ideal.
I mean, here's the thing with one CB, if you bring one center back in, I think you can kind of take Endo out of the picture and put that guy in. And Endo can be like behind Gomez, if you will, if like Gomez is injured. And I would be comfortable with that. I would be okay with that as he's your fifth option when Gomez is out and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think he would be. Yeah, this definitely is a scare. And I don't see us spending all this money in the offseason, bring in some top talents and be like, yeah, we'll do the center back next season and stuff. It just doesn't make sense. So I think, I mean, Kevin says, if we wait, we get him on a free next season. I can kind of, or like maybe in January you go and say, hey, here's 15. Why don't you guys give him? Otherwise, he's walking on a free kind of a deal. Maybe you do something like that in January. But I just think, you don't wait for that. I mean, Mike says, who's coming up from the academy? I mean, I know, and I don't know, maybe a jerk to the kids because I get a lot of heat for saying this, but I am not big on Nalo at all. And I know he's just a kid. He might get better. I'm not saying he's going to be a terrible player or he's not going to have a career or whatever, but definitely not ready to put him out there as center back. And yeah, I mean, like putting, like you say, like Robertson out there. Heck, we had Costas out there as center back. That's all fine and dandy in a preseason game where, like I say, they are not preparing for you. They're doing their own thing, kind of like what we're doing. We're doing our own thing. So if you go starting 11 and put Robertson out there, good luck because he's going to be targeted and he's going to struggle because he's not a center back. Size-wise, heck, at this stage, almost speed-wise too. And, here's another thing. Robertson's weakness has always been the line. Like he's always been like one step and sometimes has screwed up the line that Van Dijk is setting and stuff. So it's definitely not a great guy to have as a center back pairing. So I just don't think it's happening. One new center back, but you have to include Gomez to the equation season long. Yes, I think so. And then you'll have, Gomez in spurts. And then when Gomez is not there, your fourth being Endo, I think we would all be okay with, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Gomez and
you didn't sound very calm. You're like, I guess.
I love Gomez. Like I've been on the Gomez train, switched to it from the Gomez out train ever since that season where Klopp just used him all over the pitch. Like you could see what he gives. He's a team player. He doesn't care what role he gives in. He gives like a 7 or 6 out of 10, tries his hardest. Problem is he just can't stay fit, which is why I'm like really unsure. And to add to that, like the guy who's in front of him, Konate, like again, what I said earlier, it's last season was an outlier. I would love for it not to be an outlier. I would love for it to be the norm. But I don't know if a man like Arne Slot wants to take that risk. You know what I mean?
It's just a silly risk to take given how much you have invested.
Exactly.
So and the problem is like, because like I agree with Mike, the Konate thing, and you're saying it too. I agree that, we're kind of going off of last year, whereas 2 years ago, and that's why I always get on people who are like, we should have signed him to an extension and stuff. Nobody in here freaking here was signing Konate to an extension this time last year, especially to a big contract with wages and stuff like that, because they're like, we can't rely on him. He's injured all the time. So all these people saying now this summer, we should have signed him to an extension was not giving the money to Konate last summer because he was unreliable and he was injury prone. Right. He was, a younger Matip in a lot of ways, right? So, I mean, last season, yes, he did extremely well. I don't know if the system helps. I don't know if the training helps. I mean, overall, last season, we were a lot healthier. The whole squad was a lot healthier.
Exactly.
So I think, does that carry on? And we don't know. Like you say, it could be an outlier. It could be the new norm. That's why I almost feel like, Konate is really rolling the dice on himself by, like affecting his value because he's at peak value, I think, right now, coming off a season where he was healthy and did well. If he has a season like he did 2 years ago, his value goes down a lot. So he's kind of rolling the dice on himself, which, hey, kudos to him if you want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But then, we do have a sample size, right? And people forget in the Klopp's last season, Matip was starting over him before Matip went out for the season. Konate came in, stunk up the place, got replaced by Kwanzaa to end the season. So that was not a good season
yes.
for his value. So there we go.
Even though,
Right?
like, I don't know,
Like,
like, if he was looking for an excuse to yank Kwanzaa anyway, kind of a thing. I mean, he got yanked in the first half of the, what was that, Ipswich, right?
Ipswich, yeah.
Against, so
Mhm.
I don't know if it was just waiting to put Konate in, but I think, one thing Matip had, Konate has gotten a lot better with this, is obviously how good Matip was with the ball.
Oh yeah.
And you could kind of tell in the past. See, I think Konate has improved a lot with this, but the teams would let Konate have the ball. Like when they were pressing, they will have Konate have the ball. They would just avoid the pass to Trent, who's like, basically up top, like looking to get the ball and stuff. They would close off Trent and they would tell Konate, do what you got to do with the ball because you're not going to do as much. You could not do that with Matip because before you knew it, he was in your box. Whereas you could kind of roll the dice with Konate doing that. I don't see teams doing that as much now because I feel like he's gotten a lot better in terms of passing between the lines and stuff, since he came over. I mean, he's still a young dude.
Yeah, you'd still gamble on it though. Like look at Forrest.
If
Like
you have to take the risk, I guess. Correct.
You'd still gamble on it. Yeah, which is why Slot's counter to that is put Gravenberg at right center back. Right.
Yes.
But yeah, this doesn't take away from like the conversation. I think I've pretty much accepted the fact where it's more beneficial for us now to just keep Konate whatever happens regardless. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I feel like clubs won't give market value now because kind of like with the Gahey situation, they know his contract's going to be up, so they could just wait until next season. And we don't want to be put in a situation where we sell him right now, this late in the window. Everyone knows we're after two center backs now because we sold Kwanzaa and then we sold Konate. So we're willing to overpay. We're going to get fleeced, right? So I feel like we just got to bite the bullet and hope that it works out behind the scenes, if that makes sense.
I think so too. I mean, we did this. Actually, I don't think I pulled up that poll in a while over here because we did do a poll.
Yeah.
Right on our YouTube channel. So if you're not there, do subscribe and participate. Actually, what we're going to have 73% said we should look to move him.
Yeah,
mind you, it's easy to say we should look to move him, but for what is, I guess, like what it boils down to. But by the way, speaking of, if you have not subscribed, please do. If you're not hit the thumbs up, please do that too. But if you're not subscribed, please do. And then we will have a section probably like later on today or tomorrow where we're going to have 24 freaking hours. So we will need things to talk about. And it can't all be Liverpool 24 hours. There's enough to talk about probably, especially with sponsors coming on and like different Liverpool fans coming on, supporter clubs and stuff. But we will have a section where you can ask whatever the hell you want. To three of us to talk about whether that's oat milk in your tea or
Q&A,
pizza toppings or whatever. Yeah, a little Q&A. You can ask anything you want. I'm assuming that's good morning.
Yeah, magandang umaga is good morning.
Look at that.
Yeah,
look at that. Kevin says, which that would be bad because they're never gonna find him in freaking New Zealand. Mike says we have to find a new form. Dude, I mean, that's so embarrassing that nobody wants to go there, for God's sakes. I think it makes Isak look better and better every day. Because I know they're calling him rats and stuff, which we probably would too if somebody wanted
I was going to bring that up, man. Like, and it's because when Matoush did the shorts yesterday, I scheduled them. And Gally made an excellent point about the whole Isak.
Make sure you kind of like pin that because that doesn't happen a lot. But go ahead.
Gally makes like he's not here, but Gally makes a lot of excellent points. I just don't mention it, so he keeps level headed.
Yeah, keep it that way. Let's keep it that way. Yeah.
the thing is, Newcastle with Isak now. That was us 10 years back. So the thing is, like us being all, just give him away, man. Like we're bigger than you. The objective side of me feels awful, man, because I remember Torres leaving for Chelsea way back in the day. I felt sick. I felt ill, like learning that news, going to school at the time. I felt ill, and it was like literally the second most devastating sports heartbreak that happened to me at the time. So I get it. Are you trying to be? My question is, I guess, are you trying to be objective about this? Because as much as I want Isak, and I'm as happy I am as we're gonna get Isak, part of me is just like, like I get it. I get what the Newcastle fans are feeling.
See,
right
here's
now.
my thing.
Yeah.
I get where the Newcastle fans, obviously, they're not going to like this, right? He's
Yeah.
not only once out, you're going to lose your, I don't know if he's your best player, but he's your most dangerous player, right? I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
you probably, your midfield is probably your strength on that team, but he's your finisher. He gets you the goals, so you don't want to lose him. I think some of that frustration, though, in some ways, I get, you can make a pretty solid starting 11 out of all the people they went after and could not sign in the last like 12 months or so.
Yes.
So that's the thing. I mean, that should tell, it won't, I understand. It wouldn't to us, to a fan it won't. But I think it might be you can kind of see where Isak is coming from. And I know there's a lot of stuff coming out now that, you know, like he said, you know, he was told he was going to be let go or like facilitated, and which is very possible because they went after all these strikers early on, could not get any of them. So maybe the plan was to go get those guys and make Isak available for sale and get the money for those guys through that avenue. But nobody wants to go there. I mean, when a player is choosing United over you, and it might happen twice now. I don't know. I didn't see the latest update on Sesko. I know United thinks they're in for him, even though they bid less. I'm assuming the bonuses are more or something like that. But
yeah,
when a guy's picking United's mess over what looks like a rising Newcastle, right? Win a trophy now in the Champions League and stuff like that. That says a lot. And that happened twice now this summer alone. And then, you know, Joao Pedro goes to Chelsea among fucking 80 other strikers rather than go over and slot into, like, you know, Newcastle's long-term plans and stuff. Gahey was one of them last season. It's just like, you know, and it is a poor choice. And that's my point. Like, but even then, they're choosing it over Newcastle. I think Newcastle fans are probably more upset at that. If they were able to sign a couple of guys, they would say, you know what, the hell with you then. Go away. We'll take the money. Go screw yourself to Isak. I think the problem is you can't even say that because, you know, if Gordon was here, he would make some kind of a girlfriend's analogy from his college days or something like that. But you can't get another freaking dates, so you're stuck with the psycho chick, as Gordo would say.
Listen, I'm just trying to be objective because, like, I take pride in being part of this channel where we call each other out if we're being, you know, if we're holding a double standard, which is an excellent point in terms of what Gally made yesterday. Like, we're all for, just let him go. Like, we're a bigger club. Like, it's just like I felt like I said, I felt ill when Torres left. I was sad when Suarez left. Hell, I was even gutted when Coutinho left, and that was the worst kept secret in the world that he wanted to go to Barcelona. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not nice when it happens to you. Is just the point I'm trying to make here. You know, I'm aware of like the pecking order. I'm aware of the food chain, and you know, reality doesn't care about my freaking emotions. You know what I mean? But being someone who's been on the receiving end of that, right? Like, it's not. It's not
I mean,
nice.
it can't feel nice. I understand, but at the same time, you can kind of see Isak's point of view. And honestly, like, I know what Newcastle is trying to do. I think they know this is a lost battle, but they can't kind of admit it. Because I think Sergi was saying it earlier in the comments. They felt like they were just going to come in and be the new Manchester City. Buy anybody they want and do this, do that, get that coach in here, get this thing. And like, you know, it just did not. And honestly, it's been like they've been going up. I thought this summer was that summer where they could bring people. Now they have the Champions League money coming to offset, you know,
first trophy
paperwork, get a sock ad or something like that from a Saudi company or some shit like that, and basically justify funds and go after people. The issue has been people don't want to go there.
Right. It's just weird as well because last year it was a good season, really good season, like sort of a fairy tale season for them. Back in the Champions League, their first trophy in how many years, right? And even we were like, yeah, you guys deserve that because we played awful that final.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Like common sense would be like, yeah, they'd probably be getting some heavy hitters this year. And if I'm not mistaken, did they sign a single player this summer? Have they signed someone? Because
you're gonna have to make me
Right, like I could Google if you want because you Googled the first one. Right?
Yeah, it's your turn to Google. I know transfer market is pretty good at that in terms of like keeping, let's see,
it's the most reliable
like
source.
track of who left, who came in, kind of a thing. But
they signed Elanga.
Oh, that's right, 55 or something like
right,
that, and they paid a lot for him too.
Right, they signed Ramsdale. I think on loan.
And that's another thing. Like they signed some Ramsdale, like Trafford went somewhere else. Like everybody they've gone after. I'm telling you, you can make a pretty decent starting 11 out of people like targets they had that they missed out on. And that's like the biggest issue. It is a reality check for them. And I think, here's the bigger problem. And I think that's why Newcastle is more worried, because when Isak leaves, I think, like everybody over there is going to be. I was like watching. Robson? Is that Brian? No, not Brian Robson. God, what is that dude's name?
Cheeky bid for Bruno Guimaraes
so freaking annoying. But I was watching something on like ESPN FC yesterday, and they were talking about. Talk about being out of touch. They're like all the other players, like they're like playing tough now with them. It's like, no, you got to earn your spot back and stuff. Because I'm assuming Isak was like, okay, I guess I'll come back for a little bit and play. Like, practice or whatever. And they were like, no, like they're playing tough ball. You got to earn the spot and all that. And the Bozo was under the impression that, players like Bruno, Jolinson, and Tonali would want that. I don't think so. I think those guys over there are saying, get this freaking done. Either get him back in here, get this resolved. I don't think they're like, yeah, that's right. Have him run over there by himself on the pitch. We're starting freaking Premier League in 2 weeks over here. And we don't have like a striker, like our main target man is not here, and you can't get anybody over the line. I don't think if I'm a player on that team, I'm happy watching our best player, our club teach a lesson to our best player over there, because everybody looks at themselves and looks at their contract situation. Do I watch ESPN FC? Here's how I watch ESPN FC. I don't like turn it on or anything, but I sometimes fall in these YouTube holes, and I think it was about Isak. And then, obviously the conversation went over how Newcastle guys feel and crap like that and stuff like that. So going to Manchester United is like selling your soul to Satan. That's the thing. I don't know, man. When you pick United over you, it's really disturbing. And I think that's why Newcastle fans, but I know what you're saying exactly. Like I understand why Newcastle fans see him as a rat and want him gone and all that kind of. I definitely understand that. We did the same thing with Coutinho, and a lot of the stuff coming out now that they had a gentleman's agreement that he was going to go and stuff, that could not be true. That could be coming from his agent's side to make Isak look like a better dude and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when that happens, same thing that happened with Coutinho, life gives you lemons. Kind of an ordeal, and you got to make the best of it. This could be their Coutinho ordeal, like if they sell him for 120, 130. But here's the catch: nobody freaking wants to go there. So you can't make it a Coutinho deal when everybody you go to are like, you know what? I'll rather dive into that dumpster at Manchester United rather than come to you. That's the concerning part.
It's just weird because, like, what are you even gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, it's. To your point, where there's money to invest if you sell him, but then who's gonna want to come in? Like you'd want to replace him, especially with 2 weeks coming in. I guess what I'm trying to drive at is, what would you do? Let's say you're the Newcastle front office. What would you do?
I think it's too late at this point, but you're basically doing it now. Like they're trying to make it look like, no, actually, we're very tough on him and stuff. And I think this Nunez thing is happening in the background. You're trying to get a couple of signings in one way or the other to kind of ease the pain. And then you're going to sell him for like a ridiculous amount. And you're going to be like, oh, we got the money, but you got to be able to use that money and get a couple of players over the line. Dara still can't get over this Big Six thing, man. Hey, I thought you were going to find us a sponsor, Dara. Where's the sponsor? But why wouldn't you go to Manure? Look, I understand why some players still want to go to United, because it is still United. We were talking about this with Gally on Monday night. There's the history and stuff. Even when Liverpool was not great, we were able to still recruit players because it is still Liverpool. There's like a thing about the history, the past, your resume, if you will, as a club, right? And I know some players think, hey, I can be the one that turns them around, because that
Yeah.
makes you the man for the next decade or whatever. So I get that, like why the appeal is still there. But when there's a situation that like this, I feel like a couple more players will roll the dice on
Right.
Newcastle as opposed to go into a losing situation.
Exactly. Like, imagine if you're Benjamin Sesko, right? And you go like, oh, I'm choosing United, but then it hits you. Ibrahimovic was at United, Pogba was at United,
Yep.
Lukaku was at United. You know, all these big names. What happened?
Yeah,
Didn't
over the
bring-
last decade, you can count a
Right.
lot of names that went afterwards and
Yeah.
like did like a bunch of good stuff.
Exactly.
And you are not going to be in the Champions League
Mhm.
almost like at least 2 seasons.
Exactly.
You're not even in Europe this year.
Mm.
And then I highly doubt they're going to be top 4 this season. So you're not in the Champions League for at least 2 seasons. I don't know why a young kid would go for that, but
And you're not even taking into account like when you guys, like, I'm saying when, right? Because I don't think they're gonna do shit this year. When you guys fail, that spotlight. Look at Marcus Rashford, right? That spotlight on you is gonna be toxic as hell, right? I don't know.
I
if you
don't
want
know. Like, that's another good point. I mean, I think just a better situation overall. But I guess, see, I don't know now how Isak's situation changes the atmosphere around Newcastle. I think the tone of Newcastle, and we'll love to ask on the Monday nights, I mean on the Tuesday night panel over here. This is a good topic, but I think the mood you had around Newcastle 2 months ago, after they won the League Cup, going to Champions League, the end of the season, right? You were like, all right, this is it. Look at this midfield. We're going. We got Isak, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Look at him now. So if you asked the player, I think 2 months ago, it was a lot more appealing prospect than it is now, because this looks now like a place where people are going to want jump ship eventually, as opposed to it looked like it was the next up and coming like project that could kind of challenge having the money, the Saudi money behind them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it as we were having this conversation. There are some parallels to us. You know, remember that first year when Klopp got us into the Champions League? I think it was 2016-17. We managed to make the Champions League last day, and we were all like, oh my gosh, we're back in the Champions League. We're going to get this money. And then midway through the summer, Coutinho wants to leave. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, we were up and coming then. Coutinho and Mane were probably our two best players there, and Coutinho wants to leave. So there are parallels there. But I guess the difference is when we got the Coutinho money, we got Van Dijk and Alisson. Newcastle, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. I'm just I feel like I'm leaning towards them. Just roll the dice. Get that money, then see what happens. Rather than having a player who you don't know what he's going to be doing. If he's going to be doing anything at all. Will he be ready to play? Will he be fit? Will he be prepared for every game? I don't know. Like,
he's not going to be able to, I don't think, start in your starting 11 right now after not having practice with the team.
Exactly.
I still do think, I mean, we were talking this with like Gally on Monday night, I think, too. I still think they drag this out. One, they got to get their own players. So they got to sign forwards, like Mike was saying. We got to get him a couple of strikers up there. And two, they don't want Isak. They don't want to face Isak match day 2, which I still don't think they would. Maybe for the last 10, 15 minutes or something like that. I don't think they would, but they don't want to face him because we play Newcastle week 2 at Newcastle. So I think they drag this. That's the only dangerous thing that I see for Liverpool is, us waiting on it. And it's not going to happen till the very, very end. And if we don't get him, are we then going to shorthand ourselves up top? Especially if Nunez leaves. I know we saw Ekitike and how we can slide to the left and possibly play on the left and stuff like that too. And I know Rio is very promising and all that. But I'm not sure. That's kind of risky business if we do not bring somebody else up top who's like at least versatile to be able to get some minutes.
Yeah.
Because clearly, I don't think Chiesa is going to be that guy, it looks like.
No. Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, we're literally looking at 2 risks right now. Granted, I don't know. I'd like to believe I'm the glass half full half of this show. So I feel like they get it done.
What are you saying, man?
Like, Are you gonna deny it, man? Are you
I'm not gonna deny it. I just want you to say it. That's the difference.
Okay, well, we're yin and yang. I'm heads, you're tails. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Like for every positive beat I throw in the show, you find a way to go like, yeah, man, that's not happening.
That's rude. That is rude.
You know,
just call me a realist. Hey, think about this. As you get older, in the last 2-3 years alone, you've been a lot more pessimistic than you used to be.
Oh yeah. I don't. It's been helpful in some ways, and not helpful in others. But it is what it is, right? Like,
getting you ready for
you know
life.
that old commercial with Mutombo where there's just this random guy shopping and then he just swats like whatever because he's like the blocks guy. That's you and me. Every optimistic thing that I no, you just go, not in my house.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like there are certain things I feel like we've done so much good business this summer. You almost got to like take it to the end and make sure you're sorted at center back, and then make sure you're sorted up top. Whether that's Isak or not, but gotta kind of like, be able to resolve that and make sure you're safe and you don't find out 2 days to go, oh shit, we're going to be shorthanded up top now. Especially, you're gonna lose Mo during AFCON. I think we said, okay, then you move Frimpong up and stuff like that. But then you're gonna have to make sure Bradley's healthy. And then you're going to make sure Gomez is healthy. Otherwise, you're going to play Bradley all the time and stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts. But, I mean, you watch these preseasons and stuff. There's a lot to be excited about. That's for sure this season. Dikembe Mutombo, what a throwback. Man, if that kid scored that goal, that would have been some story over there. But he literally looks like he could be, I mean, he's an high school kid, but it looks like he could just be going to high school over here. It's just like hilarious seeing these kids, literally kids, 16, 17, going out there. I mean, you look at Rio and stuff.
He doesn't look 16 though, and he has the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So
like,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about, but I think you did so much this off season. In the past where you were like, you addressed one thing and you were like, okay, we're like, we did that this summer and stuff. Yeah. I think you've done so much. You got to kind of complete the puzzle and put the last couple of pieces in there. You don't want to be like, yeah, we'll leave this for January or something like that. And I don't think they will. I'm not saying, I don't think they will. Mike says, I hope Rio doesn't pull a Sterling. There was like a heated conversation about comparing Rio to Sterling. He does kind of remind me of Sterling in terms of style and all that. As long as he kind of gets better at moving the ball and stuff like that, I think will be. I really like the kid. I mean, every time I try to scale back my excitement for him, he goes out and does stuff. Then I'm like, damn, man, that is pretty darn promising.
I saw him carry that ball and take that shot from practically. It was outside the box, right? If I'm not mistaken, on the very edge. I was like, it's like it moved the needle quite a bit. Let me just say, yeah. I mean, it's obviously a moment. People could go like, it's literally just a moment. What else does he do? But then he's looked really good. Yes. Like for a 16-year, like we're not even counting. He's 16. Like if he was like a player who's like 25, 26, you could be forgiven for going like, oh, it's just preseason, like with Nunez. But he's 16. Like that is insane.
I think so too. I mean, the stuff that he does and some of his movements and stuff like that and his aggressiveness, I think he's the closest thing in that side in terms of like taking players on. And I think he will learn. There are a couple of times you kind of like he catches himself, because I've talked about this before. Like when you watch him with like the U21s and stuff like that, he will dive into 2-3 guys and then, sometimes comes out the other end, sometimes he doesn't and stuff. Well, in a system where possession is a bit more valued, I think he at times, 1v1, take your guy on because you're probably going to beat him. But I think you can see him like watching that game where he catches himself at times and like, oh shit, yeah, and then he like kind of like recycles the ball and stuff. So
pass it back to the fullback.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like rotate the ball, keep the possession, don't dive into 2 guys and stuff like that. So at least he doesn't run like Sterling. That's the ideal. But style wise, like aggressiveness and I think, obviously he's like a taller guy than Sterling. And I think, you look at Neoni, We were talking a lot about that, like how he almost looks Gravenberg-like,
Baby
like
Gravenberg.
lanky, and he's
Yeah.
gaining, like he's bulking, man. And you can see if Rio does the same thing, could be something. But
was it Paul Joyce who tweeted that he's actually part of the midfield rotation this year? Neone, I mean, like it's funny
and I
because
think we
talking.
didn't get to talk about it, but
Yeah.
that's just says.
Yeah, I think last week we were talking about like if we still needed a midfielder, right? I guess that's Arne Slot saying, "Now we don't." Right?
Yeah, I think he basically gets whatever Elliott was getting in terms of minutes. He basically just takes that over, and he's a lot more versatile than Elliott's. We saw that. I mean, he can play defensive mids. I mean, I don't know about playing him center back. I mean, he did well over there because he kind of fills the role as Gravenberg would, good on the ball. But he did a couple of things, man. I thought it was like really impressed with how he like covered people and stuff like that. I mean, Bajcetic is still hurt from what I know. And Elliott's last, Morton is official. Actually, I did see Morton going to Olympic Lyon, I think.
Elliott,
10.
Leipzig is in for Elliott. It's funny because the short just came out yesterday where I was like, are we going to get market value for him? And we're getting, I think, close to 40 and with a buyback clause, which is,
I think that's the biggest thing with Elliott. It has to be a Kwanzaa-like deal.
Yes.
Because he's still really young and he can kind of like grow into that. But yeah, so Morton is gone, which I thought was kind of odd. I don't know. I didn't look at the details of that one. I don't know if there's a buyback in there as well. I really thought he would get like a crack at it, but I think they're really big on McConnell. And I think McConnell has kind of like jumped over Morton in terms of like future plans. And I do like that kid, McConnell. He's really, really good. But we'll wrap it up for today. People will see us forever on Saturday for 24 hours. You'll be joining us on air, in person, and all that kind of stuff. And Dara, especially you, no, but anybody in the chats, still looking for sponsors. Grab a buddy from the chat if you want, and sponsor an hour. Come join us on air if you would like to as well. 9 hours left, so we do really need to fill every possible hour if we can. I'm being told no promises, but we might have some couple of like surprise guests over there and stuff too. Obviously, it's match day in New York, but there's a couple of people who might possibly be there, so that'll be really interesting and exciting as well. We might be a little starstruck, but it'll be fun. And at the end of the day, we'll raise a ton of funds. I'm pretty sure about that, especially with the help of you guys in chat. You'll be able to do the super chats and all that kind of stuff. So, hold on.
So this is our first, would you say, first actual competitive match of the year? How much worth are you putting into the competitiveness of this Sunday's game, right? Because, I mean, obviously it's like a thing, like if we win it, hooray, but then if not, it's fine.
Yeah, it's your last serious preseason, I think is what it's
so a serious preseason game. You would count it as a serious preseason.
I see it as that. I see it as that. I know there's a plate at the end and stuff like that, but aside from that, I mean, really, I think it's a serious something on the line. It's a competitive preseason. Let's put it that way. I think it'll be a competitive preseason.
I feel like I take it a little bit. I actually consider it somewhat of a league game already because I feel like Slot is going to come out with his strongest, like best lineup to start with. We're going to see the patterns of play and everything, how we want that ball played, how we want it rotated and stuff like that. So I think so,
but I guess in the way I say preseason is you are not going to substitute to win. You know what I mean? If somebody only has 60 minutes or 70 minutes, they're going to come out regardless of the score and stuff like that. You're going to prioritize keeping everybody healthy first. I don't think Ali will start this one. I think Ali starts against Bournemouth. I don't know if he's back yet, to be honest with you.
The good thing is,
just because even if he is back, I think, because of like practice and stuff like that, he would not be. Dara, shoot us your email. You can contact us through the socials. Shoot us your email if you're interested in sponsoring. Really, really would appreciate it. Bill, you have seen us, right? You're watching us on YouTube. So clearly we're not either. But yeah, I mean, people can join. You don't have to. You can just sponsor and join the chats. But yeah, at the end of the day, the goal is to raise as much funds as we can. And honestly, and we've done that with the community over here. A lot of supporter clubs, but a lot of personal ones over here. WhatsApp, okay. It is actually, if you shoot a link, I guess I do have WhatsApp, so I can contact you through there and like work out details and stuff like that by all means. Ozan says you are super photogenic.
Why, thank you, Ozan. I don't know about that. I feel like I could lose a bit of weight, but I appreciate it.
I can lose a lot of weight, but walking freaking nonstop. So hopefully I'll start losing it. Already looking. Look, everybody's. I'm kind of taking this personal. By the way, what are you guys saying? Like, are you guys saying something? What's going on here? You know what? Unreal, unbelievable.
Damn, I wish some girls could say the same. My God, you didn't see the dating market nowadays. God.
I mean, yeah, like like Newcastle. If you can't find other dates, you can come with the chat over.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Yeah, if you guys are interested, shoot us a message through the socials, send me your email, WhatsApp, whatever it will be. It's actually my name right there. I'll give you the email. I guess I'll write it over here too to make life even easier for everybody. But it's pretty easy. It's Timuchin Uras at americanscouser.com. So you can shoot me an email. I can send you the details. And like I say, it's really up to the individual, anywhere from $100 to $500, whatever you can afford, whatever you're going to commit. If people want to join together to make make one big monster, they can do that too, whatever. Like I say, every single dollar adds up when we do the super chats and all that kind of stuff. The stars on everything will add up and go to the 23 Foundation. So we will see you guys then, John included. The crew will be back tomorrow night, Thursday night podcast. So do tune in for that. And we'll see you guys Saturday at Carragher's. Take care.